Okay, I've been asked to how this works, this little bit of program, and how we can change that into functions so that we can return just an integers. So we're going to have a wee look quick at that today. Okay, so first of all, we look at the top. You'll notice we've got some new things in here. We've got try and accept. And what try does is try does everything up to the accept, and if any errors occur, it then comes down to the accept and displays message. The whole thing's wrapped up in a while loop, and you'll see it's an infinite loop because it's got while true. So we're using input validation, but we're using the race one. So we've got repeat, ask, check for the error, and exit. Okay, so let's have a wee look at how we can do this. So this, nice and simple, we hit run. When we enter a number, as long as that number is between 1 and 10, it allows it to happen. Okay. If that number is less than 1 or greater than 10, then it'll display a message. And if the number's 1 or 10, it allows it to happen. If we put in something like, we did ask for a number, so numbers have decimal points, but if you put a decimal point in, you'll notice it then comes up and says only integers allowed. And the reason for that was when the input command runs, it returns a string. The int converts that string to an integer. In the case of 5.6, it would normally let you do it and just give you the 5 part. But instead, what it's doing is it's generating this error saying, like, no, only integers are allowed. You can get around that by putting in float up there, and that would allow floating point numbers. But we just want integers for this one, so that's absolutely fine. And if we do the standard one, the one that all our robust programs crash with, that is if we run it and we say, what do you want to enter? And we type in a word. So we type in, because we're dead clever as, and we say 1, 10, only integers are allowed. It won't crash the program until the person puts it 4 and it then accepts that through it. Okay, so it's a nice little thing, and it'd be a handy little thing if we could use it in our programs. So how do we go about doing it? So I'm going to go up the top here, and I'm just going to call it def validant. Okay, and I'm going to pass in min and max. Now, min and max are rubbish names because you'll see they've already went red, and that's because those are already reserved words. So we can't really use min and max. So instead, what I'll do is min and max in. Nice and easy. I need that whole thing here to be indented. So you can highlight it, hit the tab, and it indents it. All right, so this whole thing now is part of this. So if I go down here and I do a def main, then you'll see it works exactly as before. Well, it won't work exactly as before because I've not called it. So I'll put in a call to it. Oh, must have an extra little space in there. I do, look at that, wee cheeky space. Solved. Okay, so if I do validant 1, 10, okay, and it'll say please enter from 1 and 10. I put in 4 and it accepts it, and it's fine. Except we are not currently using these numbers, these variables, min and max int, because we don't have it here. So what we have to do is put that in. So let's just do that now. So I'll put that in there, and then I want to put it in here. So I'm going to close that, do a comma, do that, take away that, max int, comma. Okay. And then do exactly the same thing down here. Comma, min int, comma, that, max int. Oh. Okay. So if I run it, so it's going between 1 and 10 again. Okay, and I'll just put in 6. It works. If I put in something that's out with the range, it won't work. A wee bit slow in running my machine today, isn't it? So it won't let 12, it won't let fish, it won't let 0, it will let 4. Okay, now obviously it's displaying it, but we would want it to return a number. Alright. And then what we can do down here is we can capture that by doing number equals, so it's assigned variable number, and then we just do print number like that. And if we tweak these values a little bit, let's go from 50 to 100. So please enter a number between 50 and 100. So if I put in 40, it won't let me do it. If I put in 120, it won't let me do it. If I put in Bob, won't let me do it. If I put in 67.5, won't let me do it. If I just put in 67, won't let me do it either. Because I've left it set as 10. Look at that, wee cheeky wee 10 in there. When I was in a hurry, max int. Stop and run it. Now remember, there's absolutely nothing wrong with your program not run first time. It's all about, can we go ahead and sort it? So let me just prove that to you again. 67.5, fish, 67. Boom, works. Okay, so this now becomes our valid int standard algorithm. All right, and we can go ahead and we can make it look however we want it to look. Okay, we can change bits and pieces, put in our internal commentary. We have already tested this, so we don't need to test it again. We've just tested it there, it works, does a number, and it's all good. So we can use this anywhere else we want in other programs by simply copying and pasting. Notice that the actual parameters are 50 and 100. The formal parameters up here are minint and maxint. Okay. This is often called the arguments. So we're calling validint with the arguments of 50 and 100. And it's just working its way through from there. All right. And the great thing about having this code here is if we now want to get number 1 between a certain value, we want to get number 2, but we want to use a different set of values. So for example, number 2 is from 0 to 49, say. So if we run it, so 78 is a bit slow. So 78 for the first one, and you'll notice we're now having from 0 to 49. I've already tested it, I don't need to test it, I know it's going to work. If I put in 10, well, it works. And that's why functions and subprograms in general are so useful. Right? We could just keep reusing the same bit of code over and over again. Thanks, folks.